Howdy friends, and welcome to the Allen Fairview Insider, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of our community. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn with Day One Experts, and I'm here to help bring you the latest and greatest from Allen and Fairview. From insightful interviews with our local leaders to exclusive updates on community events and developments, the Allen Fairview Insider is your go-to source for staying connected and informed. So whether you're at home or at work or on the move, let's get started and make the most of our time together. Welcome to the Allen Fairview Insider, where we're bringing you the stories, insights, and updates that keep Allen and Fairview thriving. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn, and today we've got a special treat for you, a recording of our local leaders forum that is sure to get you fired up about what's happening in our great state. This episode takes you back to the Eggs and Issues event hosted by the Allen Fairview Chamber on December 3rd at the Allen ISD Professional Learning and Auxiliary Services Building. A big shout out to our presenting sponsors, Linebarger Attorneys at Law, and our event sponsors, MD7 and the Fairview Economic Development Corporation, for making it possible. Now, as we gear up for the 89th legislative session, the Chamber pulled out all the stops and brought together three incredible leaders here in Collin County. The Honorable Jeff Leach, State House Representative for District 67, the Honorable Mihaela Plessa, representing House District 70, and the Honorable Candy Noble from House District 89. These dynamic representatives gave us a sneak peek into the legislative priorities, challenges, and opportunities shaping the future of communities here in the Lone Star State. So, grab a cup of coffee, maybe even a breakfast taco if you're feeling extra Texan, and settle in and get ready for an insightful and lively discussion. Let's dive in.
Support of the Chamber and its legislative efforts, and thank you for being here this morning. Let's get MD7 and the Fairview QI. I was going to recognize some distinguished guests we have with us today, but Mary Sue actually covered that for us. So thank you, anybody from the City of Allen, Town of Fairview, Lovejoy ISD, Allen ISD. Thank you all so much for being with us and for the work you do in our community. Allen ISD is, of course, also our host today, and we thank them for allowing us to use their professional learning building to host this event. Superintendent Dr. Bullock, thank you so much for allowing us to use this facility. The Chamber is a volunteer-led organization, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize our members of the Board of Directors in attendance today. If you serve on the board of the Allen Fairview Chamber, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you so much. It is truly an honor to be joined by each of our Free State representatives whose districts cover different areas of Allen and Fairview this morning. As they prepare for the important work they're about to embark on in Austin, we're thrilled to connect the business community with their elected officials for important conversations like this. We'll do introductions of the state representatives in just a moment. In the meantime, Representatives Leach, Plessa, and Noble, would you please make your way to the front and have a seat next to me here. The Chamber recognizes there are a variety of state policy issues that impact the bottom lines of businesses across our community. From education and workforce to taxes, regulations, infrastructure, and more, it's important that the business community is informed about such issues and has a voice in the legislative process. I hope you all are excited to dive into this conversation, previewing the legislative session, and walk away with valuable insights. As we get settled on stage here, I'll briefly explain the format. We have a handful of questions prepared, and each legislator will have the opportunity to answer each question. We'll rotate who gets the answer first and spend a few minutes on each topic. There's no debate component, so you all play nice with each other. It's just an opportunity for each of you to share your ideas and priorities on a variety of policy issues. We'll go ahead and kick things off with a round of self-introductions. Representative Plessa, since you're seated closest to me, you get to start us off here.
Hello, can you hear? Good morning, everybody. My name is Mihaela Plessa, and I proudly serve the constituents of House District 70 in Southwest Collin County. So the majority of my district is the city of Plano, but I do represent one beautiful precinct in Allen, Precinct 219. So it is the honor of my life to represent you guys in the Texas House, and it is going to be my second legislative session as a member, but I did serve as a staffer for 6 years in the Texas House before that. So looking forward to answering your questions and getting to work in the 89th session. We'll have
We're going to find out. There it is. Yay. Hi, y'all. I'm Candy Noble, and I am honored. By the way, welcome to House District 89. You are in House District 89 now. And it does start basically at Greenville and go all the way to the Hunt County line. And I am very proud and honored to serve you. I am one of only 2 elementary certified people that work in the Texas House currently, and I love that. I love that. Nobody goes to school to be an elementary teacher to end up in the Texas House. It's just not a path. But I'm really honored to serve you. I am the mother of 3 daughters and the grandmother of 9. So it really, really is important to me how our state is successful so that our kids and our grandkids can be successful as well.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? My name is Jeff Leach. I'm the state representative for House District 67. I'm going into my 7th term serving the constituents of House District 67, which now includes large portions of Allen, McKinney, Plano, communities like Princeton, a little bit of Fairview, Farmersville, Blue Ridge, and Melissa, up into the in the northeastern part of Collin County. I'm a 3-term chairman of the House Judiciary Committee and also serve on the House Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. And most importantly, I am husband to Becky and dad to Brady, Charlotte, and Landry, who are kids in Allen schools. My son is a junior at Allen High School on the golf team. Our daughter Charlotte is in 8th grade at Erickson, and our son Landry's in 4th grade at Green Elementary. My wife, Becky, sends her regards. I was running a little bit late this morning because I was on dad duty this morning. Becky is actually teaching the long-term substitute teaching at Green Elementary. She started yesterday and is teaching 5th grade math. She tried to talk to me about it and asked me questions about it last night. And no joke, I didn't know the answer. They're talking about how to add fractions this week, and I just passed out for 30 minutes when she was talking to me about it. So it's great to be here this morning. Look forward to this discussion, and appreciate all you do for the community, and look forward to partnering with you to make this next legislative session a successful one.
Thank you all so much. We'll get us started on the topic of education since several of you alluded to it. Obviously, there's going to be a big conversation about vouchers and ESAs, but beyond that, there's a big conversation to be had about what happens with K-12 public schools in the state of Texas. So I'll leave it very open-ended and just ask you, what are your priorities when it comes to K-12 public schools, whether that's related to base funding, teacher pay, testing, anything else you'd like to touch on?
You want to call us?
We'll start with, you can start.
Wait.
Yes.
I was trying to pass, as I caught it, I was trying to pass the microphone.
I tried.
No, I'm happy to try to answer this question. Of course, we could spend all day talking about school finance and how we can strengthen and improve public education. And we have been spending, and will continue to spend a lot of time on these important discussions. Going into my 7th term now, I'm kind of at the point in my legislative and political career where, not to say that representatives know a place aren't the same way, but I'm just going to kind of tell you what I think and be honest with you and be as straightforward and transparent as I possibly can, and about where I see the legislative session going. If you had asked me this question before last session or previous sessions, I would have said, I'm in favor of a smartly crafted school choice bill, educational savings accounts, whatever. I would have told you that the likelihood of that passing in previous sessions was not good. I've been doing this long enough to know how to count votes in the House, and knew we didn't have the votes in the House for those measures. But going into this session, things are very different. The votes likely are there in the House now. Of course, the Senate, we know that they will pass an ESA bill of some form or fashion. I believe strongly the governor will make this an emergency item, which means that the legislature can take it up in the first 60 days of session. And I think a school choice bill is going to pass this session. At the same time, what that looks like, the details, I don't know. We're going to fight to make sure that public education is not just protected, but that our public schools are invested in and strengthened, and that includes landmark increases in public education funding. what's happening to our local school districts, Allen at the top of the list in terms of operating on budget deficits, is totally unacceptable. Anyone who argues that that we already fund public education enough is not just ignorant. They're lying to their voters and to you. And so we need to increase substantially public education funding, and I believe that we'll do so.
I liked your answer. I will just add to that that when it comes to education, this is what we say at our house. We have lots of opportunities for excellence. There's a lot of things that need to be done. And one of the things that I think that we will, that we left on the table with the end of the special sessions last time was funding for security measures in our schools. And we definitely need to get on that as soon as possible so that you're not going in the hole. Our school districts are not going in the hole to make sure that our children are safe when they walk in the doors. And that not getting done was heartbreaking for us, all of us, because we really know that was a shortfall on our end. The other thing that we really need to do is make sure that schools that are doing an excellent job are not discriminated against when it comes to funding. Our school districts get an amount per student. For those that aren't in school district land, they get an amount for the students, and they get another amount for low-income students. Well, why not give an amount for students for school districts that are just doing a really, really, really good job of making sure that children are being successful, that parents are involved, and that the kids are in extracurricular activities. So that's something that I'm working on personally with the chairman of education, and I think that will benefit all of our school districts in our area, because parent involvement is the number one predictor of a student's success, and I think we need to encourage that in every way that we can.
Well, with outside of ESAs or vouchers or school's choice or whatever we want to call it, which, I'm totally against. I think that we have seen in other parts of the country that vouchers just simply don't work, and they tend to blow up states' budgets. I am working on, like what Representative Noble has said, we have left over $5 billion of school security on the table, right? And when that money is let go, what is that going to look like? So I have filed a bill around training for our SROs and making sure that they are ready to get into classrooms. They're ready to get into our schools, and that they have training to be around our children. We need to make sure that we have people in our schools that have been around kids and that can recognize trauma. And so that's what we are working on as well. We also need to make sure that we have a system set up for pre-K, right? We know that parents rely on childcare to go back into the workforce. And when I was a staffer, I worked for a member out of Bexar County. And they have a system or a program in Bexar County called Pre-K for SA. And Pre-K has done wonders for San Antonio. And there has been a bill filed in the legislature that is going to be a pilot program for pre-K for the state of Texas. And I'm really interested to work with my colleagues to make sure that we are implementing pre-K for the state of Texas, because we know that as soon as our kids have access to educational programs, that they are excelling. They're excelling in school, they're excelling in the workforce, they're excelling in higher education. And so those are some of the things that I'm gonna be working on outside of vouchers. But I don't know, Chairman Leach, I don't know if we're going to pass vouchers. The state legislature has been feeding vouchers since it was first proposed in 1955. And so we'll see. We don't know what this bill is going to look like yet. And so we can't say that we're going to pass something that we don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, if I can respond, I agree with that, and I agree with everything you just said, actually, gladly and surprisingly. No, so what you should know, if you don't, is that our delegation, certainly the three of us, are committed to working together and to locking arms. We did that many times last session, and that will continue unabated into this next session. There are so many issues that we can and need to work on together. I think it's very important that one of the three of us and/or one of the other Collin County state representatives is on the education committee, is on the public education committee. We will, of course, coordinate with the other state reps and make sure that we have the appropriate representation on the requisite committees. I would say that just politically, the landscape going into this next session, While it has been extremely difficult, we're just glad I have not had the votes in the House. We're really not even close to passing this bill or a bill in the past, even a bill very limited to special needs kids or free reduced lunch kids. We haven't had the votes in the House, and we've ended up in 3 or 4 special sessions. The governor, having now just defeated 20 of our Republican colleagues, all of whom, 100% of whom, these new members coming in support, at least on the Republican side, support school choice. If we don't pass it in the regular session, we'll be back for as many special sessions as it takes. And the governor has said that. That's not Jeff Leach. That is the governor. That is Dan Patrick. And so my preference would be to get all of us around a table knowing what's likely to happen to make sure we get the best deal for public schools we possibly can, get the issue done so that we could focus on all of the other education issues like school safety, school discipline, testing, all these other issues that we have to work on.
And I don't mean to have a last word, but for a school district like Allen, for a school district like Plano, we need to understand that we are recapture districts. And so what does a voucher program look in a recapture district? So I understand that a bunch of rural state reps are going to come in and they're going to vote for vouchers. And that's cool. But guess who's paying for their schools? We are. Our money is. And so I have a big problem when a school district is getting money from us, recapture districts, they're paying into recapture, and then they're going to say that they're going to take our tax dollars and pay for unaccountable private schools.
So let's follow a bill together to do away with recapture.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's follow Bill together to do a And then I would really love for you guys to sign on to my taxparency bill again, because we need to make sure that the taxpayers of Collin County know where their tax money is going.
That's a bill that I filed 2 sessions in a row, and you filed it last session. And
Let's get it again. Let's do it together.
Working together. It is. All right. Well, it sounds like that issue won't be very hotly contested when they get down there. You mentioned early childhood education, and that was actually a good segue into our next topic. Outside the K-12 system, there is early childhood and post-secondary, like Collin College, which we're fortunate to have here in Allen. What priorities or ideas do you have for both early childhood, pre-K, and community colleges in Texas?
I stood out. I saw so many of y'all. I stood outside the poll greeting, and I had a man come up to me, and he hires for a major corporation here in the area. I won't say which one. And he said to me, "Our education system is killing me. I can't hire qualified people to work in my industry." And that breaks my heart, and it should break all of our hearts. He said, "I'm having to hire out at India, and it's killing me." And so we can do a better job. We can do a better job. And you know what? We're doing a good job here. We just need to make sure that all of Texas is doing as good a job as Collin College is and Lovejoy and Allen, so that we do have a workforce that's ready to be hired by this man. And that is something that I'm really focused on this session. How do we make sure that our students have every tool in their toolbox that they need to be successful in college and beyond?
I 100%. Looking you. No, I 100% agree with that. And going back to pre-K and making sure that we have an affordable childcare system, I think that is very, very important that we need to have a conversation about for our safety, for our county as well.
Okay, let's pivot a little bit to infrastructure. We'll start with energy, and the condition of the state electric grid has been a topic now for a couple sessions in a row, and sounds like there'll maybe be more work ahead on that. Texas is obviously a leader nationally in growth, both people moving here and business economic growth. And we need a reliable electric grid to make sure that quality of life for individuals and business prosperity are both opportunities that we have here in Texas. So like I said, this has been a priority the last several sessions. What do you anticipate will be done this session to continue ensuring our grid is resilient and energy prices are affordable for Texans?
Man, talk about another issue we could spend all day talking about. We have over the past couple sessions since the winter storm in 2021, I believe taken really good, strong steps towards securing the reliability of the grid. And you're going to see continued investment, not only in terms of appropriations, state resources. You're going to see partnership with private industry as well. And I'm not casting aspersions on the current administration, but I do think there is going to be a major sea change in federal policy when it comes to energy. The new Secretary of the Department of Energy, that of course is not confirmed by the Senate yet, but that has been named by President Trump, is a really creative, outside the box thinker that is gonna create some interesting conversations around energy. One of the things that I think is very cool about what he talks about is how we can invest in coal and natural gas, and how we can drill, baby, drill, but at the same time be faithful stewards of the environment. He is not afraid to talk about, I don't know if he used the term climate change, but climate stewardship. And so I think that out of Washington, we're going to see some new things, especially now with the Republican Congress, and Texas is going to have to react to that. But we're not going to join one of the other 4 grids in the nation. We're going to stay on our own grid, and I think we're going to continue to invest billions of dollars in state resources to further secure it.
What's really cool about Texas is because we are primarily our own grid, is that we can streamline the process to building infrastructure. And we have, I don't even know the number, but the number of kilowatts that have come online since the storm have been an enormous impact. And y'all might have noticed that there were no calls for people to raise their air conditioning this summer, or to raise the temperature in their homes and in businesses. So we did weather this summer well. One of the things that I think that Jeff alluded to is that the federal government makes it almost impossible to build nuclear energy, which is the cleanest and most efficient energy there is. And that is something that I understand is going to be streamlined. It takes 30 years right now, 30 years to build a nuclear plant anywhere in the U.S. And so if that can be streamlined, they're doing it very successfully in Europe now, that would be a game changer for Texas.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Representative Noble. This summer, I went back to Romania. We don't know who you are for. This summer, I went back to Romania and learned a lot about what they're doing with nuclear energy. And they actually have developed ways to recycle their nuclear rods. And came back home and told my chief of staff, I want to get on the nuclear caucus and learn more about how to bring this type of technology back to Texas. And really, really have learned about the things that we're doing, like what Chairman Leach just said, with, what did you call it, climate stewardship? I love that, because that is the type of things that we should be doing. We are the 8th largest economy in the world, and we are sitting on a bed of energy, right? And so we need to be using that to continue building on the Texas miracle. And I will tell you guys something, my new favorite show is Landman. And if you guys have not been watching that show, you guys are missing out, right? But I will tell you guys something. I agree with Dan Patrick. We need to do something about this Bitcoin mining in our state. It is taking up a ton of energy, and it is taking up a ton of water. We cannot afford that. We cannot afford to keep hitting our grid and hitting our natural resources like water, using, on this thing that really, I can't really explain. I don't know if the last time you bought something with Bitcoin, but there's a reason why China has banned Bitcoin mining in their country. And so I look forward to working with our Lieutenant Governor to make sure that we're creating regulations around Bitcoin mining and protecting our natural resources.
Sticking with infrastructure and natural resources, a policy issue that maybe doesn't get as much attention as others, but is vitally important to the state's future, is water security. There has been some discussion about dedicated funding streams for water, similar to how we do with highways in Texas. How can this issue remain at the forefront, and what type of progress do you hope to see the legislature make toward our state's long-term water security?
The water situation is interesting because it's very different if you live in West Texas versus the coast, right? And the coast is looking at desalination as an opportunity, and it really is a great opportunity along the coast. And West Texas, they're looking at recycling water that's been used for fracking or for whatever. So there's just a lot. That's quite a wide conversation. I guess y'all know that our our border with Oklahoma changed about 3 weeks ago. Did y'all hear about that? That our little pump station on Lake Texoma for North Texas Municipal Water District was sitting on the state line. And it's been an ongoing, 12-year process to make sure it's all within Texas so that we get the federal regulators out of our pumping water to us. So it's such a complicated issue, and it's something that we have to look 30, 40, 50 years down the line, because it took 30 years to get Bodark done. And so it's something that we have to be on right now, and we have to expend the allocate for it now in order to have it when we need it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also a member of the Water Caucus, and I'm also on the speaker's workforce for water. And this is something that we actually talked about a couple of weeks ago, getting some state resources, investing on research and development. There's a lot of things that we're doing outside of desalinization. There's surface water injection, where we can take surface water and inject it into aquifers, which is really cool. There's all sorts of different things that we can do. But, also there's things that we need to have honest conversations about. Mexico not only owes us to build a wall, but they owe us a couple of acre feet of water that they need to pay up on. And so it's making clear decisions that are going to make the difference for us 20, 30, 40 years down the road. Because, one thing that people aren't bringing when they're moving from California and New York is roads and water, right? And so we need to make sure that we're creating environments as we're having this massive growth that is sustainable for the long haul.
Okay, let's pivot now to business climate. Texas, of course, widely regarded as an amazing place to do business, and we've seen that growth over the last 20, 25 years in particular. Property tax relief was a bit of a focal point last session, to put it mildly. Y'all did, I think, 3 or 4 special sessions on that alone. There's some franchise tax relief in there as well. What would you like to see in respect to continued tax relief this session? And how would you like to see the interests of both businesses and individuals balanced in that conversation?
So let me get to that in just a sec. I do want to mention one more thing on infrastructure, specifically related to transportation. See Chris Schulmeister here. There's other city and regional leaders that we've been working real hard on transportation solutions. And one of the things that I'm increasingly concerned about that we need to have a conversation on now, certainly in the session, is the continued use of the gas tax in Texas. I'm concerned about, as we see the development and the innovation that goes into electric vehicles and us using less and less road fuel and gas usage, even as our population increases, gas usage per commuter is going down. And so the gas tax is going to become less and less reliable in the future. And so as we talk about transportation funding, we've got to have a very serious conversation, again, along with our federal counterparts, as to how we build roads. Our community is way overtolled. Our commuters carry the highest toll burden of any other commuter anywhere in the state of Texas. That's unacceptable to us. And so making sure that we're appropriating the right amounts to build roads across the state, and that our region is getting our fair share of funding, is of vital importance. I just wanted to mention that when it comes to infrastructure. Tailing into the business climate question, how we strengthen and preserve our business climate is directly related to infrastructure. If we do not invest in water resources, if we do not invest in public education, if we do not invest in transportation, and when I say invest, I mean not just put a Band-Aid on, I mean substantially invest, using the billions and billions of budget surplus dollars that we have right now, getting as much back to you as possible in the form of property tax relief, yes, but also making sure that we're taking care of the core competencies and the priorities of government: water, education, and transportation at the very top of the list. And so if we continue to do those things, then the business climate, I believe, will continue to be improved and strengthened, and you're going to see people flock here from other states like California and New York who are not doing those things. They're not investing in education. They're not investing in transportation. And there's a reason their business owners and their citizens are picking up and coming to states like Texas.
I don't know much. Man, you did a great job. I am so proud of Texas. We are there's a saying, it's easier to steer a moving car. We are a moving car when it comes to the Texas economy, and I'm so proud of that. So as government, we kind of need to get out of the way and let that car get moving when it comes to business climate. And I'm so proud of how Texas has done that through the years. One thing that we can do is property tax relief. And I have served on Ways and Means all three of my terms, and we have done a significant amount of work in lowering that M&O part, that part of the school taxes. It's the biggest burden on us. And I want to continue to work on that so that every property owner, whether it's a homestead or just a business property, because everybody shares in that cost of the infrastructure, that we make sure that we lower that to where it's gone, and then recapture would be gone at that point when the M&O is a state problem and not a local property tax problem.
Anything to add on property taxes or business one?
I've just been getting a lot of emails say do away with property taxes.
Good luck with that. Let's talk about the R&D tax credit. The Allen Fairview Chamber supports continued use and maintenance of economic development programs in Texas, including the R&D tax credit. And it's set to expire at the end of 2026, which would be before the 90th regular session convenes. Can you talk about your stance on the R&D tax credit and just the overall importance of research and development to Texas' continued economic success?
Yeah, so from my understanding, this tax credit is actually tied to the federal tax credit. And so I'm in total, complete support of this tax credit. I think it's very important. We want to keep Texas as, the 8th largest economy in the world. We want to keep the Texas miracle alive. We want people to come here and start their businesses here. And so, yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
I will say on Ways and Means, we've dealt the last couple of every session I've been in there, we've dealt with 313s and 312s, and those that your eyes are all glazing over. But some people consider that corporate welfare, helping businesses be able to get their buildings built and have a little tax incentive. But I believe that research and development goes along with that. We need to invest in businesses today so that they, on the long term, can invest in Texas and their employees and their infrastructure. So it's an investment. And just to let them have a little tax, that's what it is. It's not tax.
So I didn't really know how much it was. It's like 5%. I think it was kept at $25,000. It wasn't something astronomical. It wasn't millions and millions of dollars. It wasn't something crazy.
Let's talk about local control, local decision making. That seemingly comes up on several different policy discussions that the legislature takes on. So, unrelated to any specific policy proposal, just like you to discuss your general philosophy on the role of state government versus local government, whether that's county, city, ISD, as we head into this session.
You turned my mind. Okay, so the issue of local control is of paramount importance, protecting the belief that those who govern closest to you govern best, and we partner. I view this as a partnership with our counterparts at the federal and local levels. We have, at least during my years in office, we've had disputes about local control and what the state can and cannot do, and what the city can and cannot do, and those, I guess if you want to call them territory or turf wars, those happen every session on various issues, and we'll continue to kind of wrestle with those issues as they come up next session. I will tell you that if every school district across the state of Texas had a superintendent like Dr. Robin Bullitt, the state's education system would be in a lot better shape than it is. If every mayor, I see Mayor Lessner here, and I don't know if Bain is here, but if every city had a mayor like Bain Brooks or a Mayor Lessner or John Munns in Plano, we would have a lot less issues. There'd be a lot less wars between the state and our cities. The reality is that's not the case. And so when we in the legislature hear and learn of things that are happening in communities like Houston and Austin, we see it firsthand, and other communities. I don't mean to single those two out. There are others all over the state, even some here locally. And we see some problems, and we hear citizens that are not able to hold local officials accountable, and they're not able to get the relief that they need, or not able to get the answers, the responsiveness that they want from their local government. Then the state has the obligation, I would say, to step in. I know folks don't like hearing this, but it is true that the school districts and the counties and the cities are political subdivisions of the state. And so when the state legislature convenes, if we've got cities or counties or school districts that are out of their lanes, or that need to be redirected, or the partnership that needs to be rekindled or revitalized, then that's what we're going to do at the state level. And then hopefully we can do so in a wise and smart, prudent way.
And let me add that there's some really crazy ideas out there about these issues. And one of them that is very egregious to me personally is there's a push, and I've already had 2 different groups bring it to me during the interim, that you should be, it's your property. You should be able to build as much as you want on it, as many buildings as you want on it, as close to the property line as you want on it. And cities should not be able to make your lot be bigger than a certain amount. Well, I 100% disagree with that stance. And I will fight it. I fought it last time, I'll fight it again. And what I said to them was, cities have to plan for infrastructure. Cities have to plan for water runoff, water coming to the building. But not just that, you're going to flood out me if you allow that 2 acres next to me to have a monster building on it, or several monster buildings on it. So that is something that is really important to me personally, that I will fight. I will fight that 100%. The state telling cities that they have to have that they can only make their lots a certain size in a certain way. And just know that we're like-minded when it comes to that. And there is a big push coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's crazy to me to say. The other one that somebody brought to me was that any unoccupied business building, commercial building, could just be built out to be apartments. I'm like, no, that's a completely different infrastructure going to that. So just know that those kind of things, we're fighting for you on your behalf in Austin to make sure that the cities can regulate the zoning and the traffic and the water needs and the electric needs coming to you.
I just think that we need to be careful about, as lawmakers, we're down in Austin for 140 days every 2 years, right? And so we only hear from people that can make it to Austin for those 140 days, right, every 2 years. And not everybody can make it to Austin to talk to us during that time. And so we just have to be really careful about the laws that we're creating that limit who can talk to us during those 140 days.
Yeah, and I would to add on to that, it's a great point. Is please communicate with us. We all 3 of us, and Representative Shaheen, who we've worked with Senator Paxton. We've got 2 incoming state reps, Representative Pearson and Richardson, who I think will be the same way. Our office is wide open to you to communicate with us. I will tell you that I have a problem when a state association, whether it's the Texas Municipal League, TML, or TASB, when they come into my office speaking for you, I would rather, they're always welcome in my office and we listen to them, but I would rather hear from you specifically. And in fact, I tell them that. I say, that's fine what you're telling me, but your job is to advocate for all 1,200 school districts and all the thousands of cities and 254 counties across the state. Fine, we'll listen to you, but we want to hear from you. And so I know you're hearing us talk a lot today, but if there's one thing I want you to remember that I've said, it's that we look forward to partnering with you in the session and hearing from you and working with you to protect what we've built here in Collin County and to make it even stronger.
Okay, we're almost to the finish line here. Cost of health insurance and health care remains a top consideration for businesses and employees across Texas. What would you like to see done this session to expand access to affordable, quality health care in Texas?
You know, it's interesting that a lot of people, when they think healthcare, they think insurance. Well, insurance isn't access, and I like how you worded that. Because really what we want is the ability to pick where we go and how much we spend and how that quality affects our lives, right? And so I don't know about everybody else up here, but my kids are on a health sharing plan. I don't know if y'all are familiar with those. But they actually come out ahead by going into a provider and saying, I'm going to be paying cash today, and then they get reimbursed within the plan. And they come out ahead every single time. They get to choose where they go, and they get to have much higher quality. So really, when you're talking about this, we're not talking about insurance very often. Usually we're talking about access and affordability. And we need to make sure as a state that we make those options available to everyone that needs them. And then take care of those that are in that really high problem pool as well. And we see a lot of that on human services. We need to make sure that we take care of our foster kids and our IDD adults. That's our adults that cannot feed themselves, those high need adults. We need to make sure as a state that we're taking care of those people adequately, not just adequately, but in a superior way.
Well, I 100% agree with Representative Noble, and I'm really grateful for letting me join your IDD bill last session. That was such an important bill. It's a shame that the state of Texas is the least insured state in the nation, especially for our kids. And that's why I stand with our business community and calling for Texas to expand Medicaid or Medicare in our state. That is one way that we can make sure that our kids get access to health care. Another thing that I've been working on that is near and dear to my heart is mental health care in our state and making sure that the kids that have the greatest need are kids that have their first episodes of psychosis, the ones that tend to become the most violent, get access to health care. And I just want to say, Chairman Leach, thank you so much for signing on to my bill last session. And that was such an important bill for us to make sure that insurance companies cover first episodes of psychosis, because it is not covered by insurance companies. I see you're shaking your head. I mean, this is a huge issue because these are kids that tend to pick up a gun and shoot up a classroom, right? And so I'm going to be filing this bill again. It's going to have huge pushback from the insurance lobby, but I hope, Chairman, that you will help me get this bill off the House floor again. I know it's going to get killed in the Senate, but this is the first step to making sure that kids get health care and that we're working on mental health care in our state. And so these are just a couple of things that I'm going to be working on to make sure that we're covering kids in the state of Texas.
Anything to add, Chairman Leach? Okay, perfect. Okay, well, this is our last question. I'm going to give you each the opportunity to just leave the business community with your parting thoughts and anything you want them to know about your efforts before the session starts. We can start on the far end there and then work toward me if that's okay.
Well, first of all, I'm just so grateful. We are not the state of Texas. We are all the state of Texas, and I'm just so proud. Aren't we the best? I mean, Texas is the best place to live and work and raise a family, and it's really important to me that we make sure that we do provide for our Texans that are absolutely unable to provide for themselves, but then we make the opportunity for all other Texans to be successful, and that is who I am, and I look forward to serving you in my 4th term. I can't believe that that's coming up, but I do want to make sure that we make Texas be a climate where businesses not only survive, but that they thrive, and it's been a tough couple of years for folks, and I see some really excitement when I talk to business people across the state right now, how excited they are about the new administration and the new opportunities that are coming their way. And we need to make sure that Texas, that we get out of the way and let y'all be successful.
Well, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for hosting. I always enjoy sharing the stage with my colleagues and look forward to partnering together here over the next several months. We'll spend more time together than we will with our own families. over the next several months, working together and working with you to make this a successful legislative session. Right now, and all of us, we were in Austin yesterday, came back for this, and I know the three of us are headed back to Austin this week for just some important conversations about what the House is going to look like next session. And I will say that that I am, as I look at the political landscape nationally, really all across the world, and you just kind of see dysfunction in institutions of government and deep divisions in our voting populations, and the country is divided right down the middle. And I hope you see, even among our disagreements here today, that we respect the hell out of each other. And sorry for that, it's true. That we respect each other, and despite our differences, there's so much that we can and will partner together on. I am focused in real time now and in advance of next session in making sure that the Texas House continues to distinguish itself from other governing institutions we see that are really broken down and that don't work. I don't want the Texas House to become like the United States House of Representatives. I go and I'm willing to risk re-election or to tick off whoever I need to tick off in order to do so. I believe so strongly that we are not perfect. There does need to be reform, maybe substantial reforms in the Texas House, but making sure that your voice is heard on the floor of the Texas House is our main job, and we are all committed to doing our job and doing it eagerly and passionately. And I would hope that our other state rep colleagues from across the state feel the same way. We're about to find out.
Well, I'm just really honored to be here with you guys today. Like I said, I only represent one precinct of Allen, but my door is open to everybody. My chief of staff, Jordan Field-Real, is here. If you guys have any bill ideas or anything that you guys want us to work on next session, please reach out to our office. Like what my colleague said, I know that we're on the opposite side of the aisle, but we really do agree on more things than media and people on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now want you guys to believe that we do. Like Chairman Leach and Kenny, we talk, we work together. We're working for you. We don't spend our time talking bad about each other, right? We spend our time trying to figure out, like, how do we pass, your bill? How do we, can I get a hearing in your committee? Like, how do we work for our cities and our counties? Because like I said before, we only have 140 days to get it right, and we don't want to keep getting called back into special session. Why? Because that's your tax money at work. And let me tell you, as much as we're happy to go in with the surplus, that is, when you go in with a $20 billion surplus, that is a grave error that our comptroller has made. That is your money that we have overtaxed you guys on. So we need to go in and we need to get it right the first time, right? We need to make sure that our roads are paved, that our schools are funded, that our grid is working. And that happens when the campaign trail ends at the Capitol door and we get to work, right? And so I just don't fall into the hype, I guess, is what I would say. Reach out to our offices. Let us know what you guys want us to work on. We really are more concerned with getting to work than getting the headlines, I guess, is what I would say for my colleagues and I, from what I've experienced. Now, I'm only been there for 2 sessions, but I'm just really honored to share the stage with you guys and to be a member of the Collin County delegation. I think we're the best delegation in the Texas House, but I'm biased, so.
Well, thank you all again for being here. Let's give our state representatives one round of applause. Thank you for being with us today.
All right, thanks for tuning in. This is the special edition of Local Leaders Forum. We hope today's episode gave you some valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities we face here in Allen and Fairview and across the Lone Star State, and how our local leaders are stepping in to address them. Be sure to stay connected with us for more in-depth discussions, exclusive interviews, and behind-the-scenes looks at the decisions shaping our community here in Allen and Fairview. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn, here to help you stay informed, inspired, and involved. Until next time, take care, stay engaged, and let's keep building the best community we can together. and build your life here in the Allen Fairview communities. Thanks, and make a great day. Thank you for tuning in to the Allen Fairview Insider, the official podcast of the Allen Fairview Chamber of Commerce. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found the insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. Like and share this episode with your friends and family to help spread the word about our great communities. We appreciate your support and are excited to bring you more engaging content. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn, thanking you on behalf of the Allen Fairview Chamber of Commerce for listening and reminding you to stay involved, stay informed, and keep making Allen and Fairview the best place to live in Texas.